Hello, my name is Andrew Hagle. Some of you know me as Sniggle Fluffy on the Experience Project or Truckin' Hubby on Twitter, FDA. There have been many health concerns about aspartame. I am here with my wife, Kathy Hagle, who found some shocking information on the real dangers of aspartame. She also has been reading the book Sweet Poison by Dr. Janet Starr Hall. On her website, sweetpoison.com, Dr. Janet Starr Hall explains how she was adversely affected by aspartame as follows. In 1991, I was diagnosed with an incurable case of Graves' disease, a fatal thyroid disorder. I never really had Graves' disease, but my doctors were convinced that I did. I had aspartame poisoning symptoms of the textbook Graves' disease caused by aspartame, saturating my foods. Modern medicine kept me alive, temporarily, but I cured my disease by using the aspartame detoxification program. Modern medicine has led us to take a pill, cut it out mentally for almost every modern health symptom. But this approach alone cannot cure disease, as more and more people are personally discovering using aspartame detoxification program. I designed it at the time of my disease. I restored my health within 30 days. If you use sugar-free products with aspartame and suffer health symptoms, your medical doctor cannot cure. More than likely, you have aspartame poisoning. Since completely taking aspartame out of our diet, I have noticed a significant change in the way I feel and my overall energy level. So since we've been doing this, honey, I've noticed quite a difference. I've noticed I felt better. I noticed my head's been clear. I noticed I haven't had the headaches. I noticed I haven't had the trouble concentrating. What do you think?
It's been approximately about 30 days now.
And that's 30 days as of today, June 30th, 2013, at the time we're filming this.
Yeah. Give or take a couple of days. I know that I had a lot of joint and muscle problems when we decided to get off of the aspartame. Now that we are off it, I feel better. Movement is easier for me. I can think better. I was starting to think I was nuts. My memory was going. I recall that it wasn't the pop. People talk about the pop as such. For me, it wasn't the pop. It was Crystal Light. It was the packets of sweetener and the tea and the coffee, either hot or cold. You just like dump it in. And I found within the first week of doing that, I started craving more aspartame. That when we got off, it was like I had to do a double check. No, I'm not going to get this. Now that we've been off of it, I noticed that my taste has improved. My smell has improved. I can smell things better. Overall, I feel better. There's days I don't. I think it's going to take a while.
I'd agree, because, correct me if I'm wrong, but in her book, Dr. Hall says it can take up to 60 days.
Yes.
So we're 30 into it. We're about halfway through what she describes as the detoxification program of aspartame. Now, also on her website, she talks about that the dangers of aspartame have been a well-guarded secret since the 80s. The research and history in aspartame is conclusive that it causes illnesses and toxic reactions in the human body. I'm sure you'd agree with that statement, but have you found any other research that would confirm that?
I've been doing a lot of Google research online. Weston A. Price Foundation recommended to get off of all artificial sweeteners.
Okay, and then just for our viewers who aren't familiar with the Weston A. Price Foundation, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
The Weston A. Price Foundation, Weston A. Price was a dentist that discovered that eating whole foods, foods that were more close to what you'd find and not processed as much. So it would be like grass-fed beef, grass-fed pork, grass-fed poultry, butters that are from grass-fed animals, raw milk that is from grass-fed animals. The key is grass-fed animals, because cows do not do well with the grains in the soy, corn, food mixes that they put in it now that are mostly GMO.
Right. I know the Weston A. Price Foundation advocates a lot that, which I have to save that one for another interview. But in her website, Dr. Hall also talks about the dangers of aspartame poisoning being a well-guarded secret since the 80s. What else did you find out about that? And tell us about the approval process on that.
I found out that the approval process started in the late 70s, I would say. They tried to get it approved, but they didn't want it approved because there was conflicting evidence that it was causing tumors in lab rats. And I didn't find out more until I got on to Dr. Mercola, which she talked about a video called Sweet Misery, which I highly recommend. You can go on YouTube and track that video down as well, which talked about how through a series of falsifying information or hiding information, the companies that were wanting the aspartame in the system were tweaking the tests that they needed to go through to get the sweetener on the market. So it was in favor of them. And this is including doing autopsies on the rats that did die. They waited for long periods of times. There's been a case where one time, according to what the video said, it was up to a year after the death of this one rat that they did the autopsy, which was complete falsifying of information. They also cut out tumors in the rats. There were cases of animals that were having problems that they didn't report, or they were making the placebo rats eat the same thing that the rats that were supposed to be on the sweetener. So it looked like they were doing the same thing when in actuality they were not.
So there's significant misrepresentation when it came to aspartame, and also we've talked about what it has. It has phenylalanine in it, which, if you listen to the industry or you listen to some more mainline websites like WebMD, they'll talk about phenylalanine only being an issue if you have PKU, which is a condition that there's phenylalanine sensitivity. But it also contains methanol. So what did you find out about methanol, besides methanol being a commonly used racing fuel, high-octane racing fuel?
I think it was also called wood alcohol. And that is a very poisonous chemical that in your body, yes, you have it, but it also has another chemical that goes with it, and for the life of me I don't remember what it is.
It's formaldehyde, is it?
No, it's ethanol and there's methanol.
Methanol.
Okay, ethanol and methanol have to be together, and you find that in fruits, but it passes through the body unscathed because of the combination naturally makes it so it goes right out of the system. But if they are separated, the human body does not take that as well. So the wood grain alcohol is extremely poisonous, and in the body it converts from the wood grain alcohol into formaldehyde.
Ooh. Formaldehyde is also embalming fluid, and it's also used in particle board and some other applications like that. And I know there have been a lot of concerns with formaldehyde fumes, particularly when it comes to particle board walls and particle board furniture that contains it.
Yes, I know for a fact, owning parrots, that they say that if you have furniture or stuff like that that you are going to bring into the house that has had formaldehyde used in it, that you need to air it out before you bring it into the house, because it can be deadly to parrots. And it's the canary syndrome. If it's deadly to parrots, why are we putting this kind of thing into our own bodies?
And then I agree. And then also let's talk some about the non-disclosure of it, because at least some milk producers have put aspartame in their milk and they're not required to disclose.
There have been movements in the government to hide things that they're putting into this, somebody on the video said that they want to be selling to you from cradle to grave, and they've put this in milk products, and they don't have to disclose it because it's so little amount of the aspartame. I find that completely shocking.
I do too, and we've also found that it's in some supplements, and they only have to disclose that it contains phenylalanine.
Yes.
Ouch.
Also, they have it in some drug uses, over-the-counter drugs as well as prescription drugs, mainly drugs that are for indigestion, heartburn.
So watch out for anything that says sugar-free on it.
Yes.
Particularly if it says phenylalanine, whether you see aspartame on the label or not.
Yeah, so you'd have to be careful of even like the diabetic medications and stuff. I'm diabetic, but honestly, I would rather have to tweak my diet a little bit and not have to deal with eating some kind of foods and cutting back on a carb somewhere else than to deal with the aspartame.
That's interesting. And let's talk about sweeteners, and let's talk about what are safe sweeteners besides sugar.
I would say fructose, because they do recommend that off and on with diabetics. I'd say if you're going to have sweeteners and you're diabetic, it's okay to have sugar. Just be aware and cut it back somewhere else in your diet. Just keep aware of your carb count. I've been finding I'm starting to get better numbers.
Then let's also talk about stevia.
Yes, stevia.
It comes from the stevia plant. And that's sold under a couple of different names. It's sold under the name Truvia. It's also the one that we like is the pure white stevia?
The pure white stevia, which is the type I would actually have you use. As the new stevia is the brand name. That is more of a pure stevia than the Truvia. I'm not completely sure on this because I haven't done the research on this. It's just started. But the Truvia is owned by the Coca-Cola company, and according to what I've been reading, they've been tweaking with that a little bit. It goes back to this whole GMO convenience food stuff, which what got us on this whole thing in the first place. Is, the more cleaner you eat, more nutrient dense food that you have, the healthier you're going to be.
I certainly agree with that. And then also stevia extract is in some drinks, like in vitamin water, Sobe Life water uses a stevia extract. But definitely anything that's sugar-free, diet, light, check the label. If it's stevia, you're okay.
If it doesn't,
stay away. If it has aspartame, I'd stay away.
Honestly, I've gotten to the point, if there's stuff that I cannot pronounce in foods, I generally try to stay clear of that. I feel better.
And also, you said that aspartame increased one's craving for sweets.
Yes.
And I noticed that, and I was always wondering why I was craving sweets, and I used to laugh about using artificial sweetener in big rich dessert or big sweet sugary dessert, but honestly, now I can understand why I would do that, and I've seen a lot of other people do that, and I believe you've done that yourself as well.
Oh, yes. I'm thinking back and recollecting of when I started using aspartame and artificial sweeteners. My mom had me on diets at the age of 12.
Wow.
And at the age of 15 is when I started drinking Tab. And I had other diet drinks. When Crystal Light first came out, I was hooked.
And just for our younger viewers, Tab was a predecessor to Diet Coke. It came in a pink can, and it was sweetened with saccharin, and I don't remember drinking a lot because it had a heavy aftertaste to it.
But girls would drink it, for sure.
Right. But just in case anybody out there doesn't know what Tab is, because I'm sure the younger set may not. Since they haven't had it on the market for, what, 25 years?
I think so. Didn't
Something
they
like
come
that.
out like a... They tried to come out with it again, and it didn't do well.
No, it didn't.
But yeah, Tab was one of the first diet drinks out there for pop. And then, like I said, Crystal Light. It's been reformed and reformed, but I remember Crystal Light from the beginning, and I was drinking it, and then I got my boys onto the sugar-free Kool-Aid, because I was thought I was doing good. I thought I was helping my children do better and be healthier. And you know, now with all this stuff with Obama's war on obesity, the shocker with the aspartame stuff is it causes you to gain weight. And I didn't know that, but that's one of the symptoms. They have over 90 symptoms that aspartame poisoning can have. And it's on a PDF file, and we will link it at the bottom of this video. It's shocking what you find when you start digging into this. The also diabetes, it will cause you to not recognize your insulin. So if you're type 2 diabetic and you have problems with insulin resistance, it could be aspartame poisoning.
Ouch, because I know I drank Diet Pop, and since I was a senior in high school, and at that time they were starting to mix aspartame and saccharin into the Diet Pop, and then they went all aspartame. And at that time it was all sold under the brand name NutraSweet. So, and I know I was diagnosed type 2 diabetic early 2009. And what were you diagnosed early 2000, 2001, somewhere around there?
Yes.
And I'm sure it had to do with both of our insulin resistance.
I'm sure, because I was drinking the Crystal Light by the glassful. It was a free food for me.
Wow.
And then you add to the puddings and the jellos and the diabetic candies and all that, and you keep thinking about, you know, what they have for the diet. It's incredible. I think they said over, I believe the number was 5,000 different products.
Wow.
That have aspartame in it.
Wow. That's amazing. 5,000 different products.
And like I said, this includes drugs and over-the-counter medications and supplements, vitamin supplements, especially for kids. I believe Flintstone gummies is one of them. Chewable vitamins.
A lot of the flavored cold medicines for kids.
Also, gum. Gum is a high one, and I was chewing gum like crazy. You remember when I went through the gum like crazy?
I remember that. And a lot of gum also contains sorbitol and xylitol, which are other alternative sweeteners. And besides being toxic to pets,
They cause stomach upset. The sorbitol and the the xylitol.
Does it cause stomach upset in people too?
Yes, it can.
So I know it's toxic to dogs. That's why I've personally decided to stay away from it.
Yeah, well, it causes stomach upset because Alex, our oldest son, asked me to look into it because he has had problems with upset stomachs for a very long time. And we've decided that we're going to keep him away from sorbitol because of that.
That's right. And that's even in a lot of organic, natural toothpaste, mouthwashes, other such things like that contain that.
So like I said, you know, if you can't really read what it is or pronounce it well, then I would stay away from it.
Anything else you'd like to add that we haven't covered?
I would just say research what you do eat. Know what you eat. Get back to knowing your food. It's so easy to go into the store and grab a box of convenient food and say, I'm going to throw it in the microwave. But health-wise, you're going to feel better and you're going to be healthier if you know what your food is.
Definitely. Definitely. And read and research with your food and look for more whole foods and look for more nutrient-dense foods, naturally grown foods. Look at farm shares. We'll talk about farm shares in future videos. And also look at your local farmer's market and watch out for the unpronounceables. Andrew Hagle, homegrownmedia.info, Albany, Oregon.